Hey guys, and how's it going? This is going to be a second part of this barn find amphibious vehicle that I grabbed a couple of weeks ago. It is I think a 1967 through 70, right in that genre, beaver amphibious vehicle that was built for the built in Canada. I think it was for the Canadian Army. Very oddball machine. The first video showed us getting it out of the barn where it was and up onto the truck, not very gingerly, and out of the truck, not very gingerly. And the last video, we also got the engine out of the engine compartment. That was this thing stopped being used because it was blown up and was parked for that reason. So we got it out of there. You see it's nice and clean down in there. The exhaust is still wedged in there, but inside there, this is the air intake where the air would have drawn into the engine and blown across and exited out of this gap back in here. But as you can see, it's full of mouse nest material, so it was not going to be long for this world, even if it did run, because it would have overheated. There's where that fan is, right there. You can see how clogged up that is. So the engine is locked up. You can kind of move the con rod just a little bit, but that's it. It's kind of dark down inside there, but you can see, ooh, it's getting windy out. You see the movement that it has, and I think the rest of it's locked up. What I want to do is take some time. I'm going to go wash the outside of it off and do some cleaning of it before we start disassembling it, so that contaminants don't get put to the inside. Without further ado, let's get you set up in the stand and get into it. Oh, and before I forget, on the end of the last video, we had a trivia of how much, guess the weight that was in the scrap trailer that we dumped, and it ended up being 1,740 pounds. So let's see who came the closest to that. I think I guessed 2150, so I was pretty far off. And the cash price of that for just light iron was $87. Who's our winner? You don't win anything, but who's our winner? The piston already has some damage on the skirt, but just in case we need to use it again, let's mark what direction was forward. Should probably break the exhaust. And take the clip out of that, get that pin out, and get that out of harm's way. You grab one side of it and get it. Launch it across the room. Probably gonna have to take both of them out so that we can have room to tap on it. That one. This is gonna be the right size. Let's see. You can see where the damage of the skirt is. Down inside there. What that is. And judging by that green on the side there, that's not a good sign. Just looks like a crusty old leaf to me. That's what that is. Yeah, that crank does not look pretty down there, does it? I believe it sits on roller bearings. Yeah, that's a regular bushing. Was there? Yeah, just a regular bushing. Don't know what the bottom has though. The rod moves, but the crank is locked right up. So yeah, let's I'm gonna do my best to get that gasket off of there. Again, I don't know the availability of Villers is the engine. I don't know the extent of the ability to get stuff for it. I would think we'd be able to get your gasket set, but the other parts I want to try to save just because you never know what you're going to need to use over. So I'm going to work on getting that gasket off of there, and then I got some parts washing fluid. We're going to kind of soak her all down, clean up the outside, and then maybe we'll start splitting cases and putting fluid in there, that kind of thing. So if you can walk that chain out of there too, now that it's accessible. Of course, the crank won't turn, so you can't shift it out of gear. It's stuck in gear, so the chain is kind of stuck. There. Move it around without that slapping in the way anymore. That gasket's off. Let's hit it with an air gun, see what kind of crap blows out of there. Whoa, that did not look good. Wherever there's rust, it had to come off of something, right? Moved it over to the parts washer. So I wanted to fill that cavity up with something to help break up the rust. Good, let's see. Wonder if we can. There it goes. The rod's free. Finish cleaning that up. We'll put it back on the bench. Start taking it apart. What do you say? That looks a little better, doesn't it? I see. I'm not sure what's going to be drain plugs and what's not. I'm going to pop that guy out, that guy, and that guy, and we'll let that flip on its side. That doesn't look good. You see rust. Again, there's a possibility this thing was just totally underwater, being what it is. We are not going to know. Get it all the way apart, right? That one looks like, judging by the plug that came out of it, I should keep those separate. Think anything's gonna come out of it? See any more to take out? Okay. One here too. There also. This thing's got plugs everywhere. That would be, what was that, the shifter? What was that? Have to be, right? Watching nothing come out of it. Setter. Got a drain pan down there. Let's go flip her over. Let's just drop it on the floor. Yeah. That's got a lot coming out. See one more right here. There. I don't exactly have the correct wrenches neither. What are they called? British Standard. Kind of like working on an old Norton. I do my best not to round off any of the hardware. The other thing too is the hardware that's missing. I got to go find the nuts and bolts that held the jug down. I don't have, you know, the ones for these studs, that kind of thing. All right, think we'll get anything out of that one? We got like 2 drops. All right, let's go start popping these covers off. You think they're just going to unscrew, or we're going to have to hit it with the impact driver? Imagine that. You figure this thing's roughly 50 years old. It's never been apart. Now that we're aware of. I did see from the top 2 of the fins are broken, so they probably tried sticking a screwdriver in there to see if they can get it to turn. Broke the fins off and stopped. Yeah. That's not happening. Where do you want to go next? That's a double nut, and it looks like it has 6 screws going around it, and it looks like those are possibly you could put a puller on it. I don't know if we need to take this off right yet though. That might actually help us to kind of get it to rock back and forth. That's going to have to come off before this housing comes off though. Here's the fin, one of them. Here's the other one. Let's worry about that later. Let's work on that cover. Already got that one started. We got a little one here. It may not have to come off though. I do see these 2 wires in this case also. And get us an impact driver. Let's see if those little ones will come out. Quite sure would be behind that. That's your points. Yes, it is. They are moist. Alright, well, let's see what happens if we go in a little further on that cover with the we got just 2 screws, that one and that one. That's it. That bit doesn't look too good. Let's give it a shot. let's go grab ourselves. Actually, a rubber mallet. Let's go see if it'll tap off though. It's probably on pins. Nah, something's still holding it. We get a nut in the backside right here. Right there, that guy's got to come off. Looking pretty rusty. Ooh. Yeah. I would say my thought of it getting underwater back in 1975. It's probably pretty accurate. Be able to feed that and get the yellow wire out of there. I think the yellow wire is maybe a neutral safety switch, you think? What is that? It's like a gear. It's got a set of contacts there. When that's kicked out, kind of looks like a starter gear, but nothing for it to run into. Nothing in the case. And then a plethora of old metal DNA. Yeah, let me get that guy out of the case so we get this case out of our way. And we'll start moving forward. Alright, so I flipped it up on end and I took that wire off. I think that wire is for a neutral safety switch because there's a nub sitting up on here. It looks like it was making contact with it, and then it had like a couple of isolation blocks for the contacts to knock ground out, kind of like how points are. But I think that's what that's for. Maybe so that either got to be neutral to shut it off, or I don't know. I see this big clump right here is definitely going to be jamming the crank from moving. Let's just kind of dig at it a little. I wonder if you can maybe get in there with a scribe or something, kind of dig free around there. And I'm probably going to take a wire wheel. I'm not sure what holds a flywheel on. I do see two screws right here. Maybe this plate comes off and there's a nut further down inside. I think magically turns. I doubt it. Yeah, so let's see if I don't want to be breaking stuff off neither. I'm going to take a minute, take a wire wheel and kind of knock some of the crap off of this and get a better look at what we have. That is not a good sign. Think this thing's out at the bottom of a lake? Yeah. I got them on. got it cleaned up somewhat. What I have is a little Chapman set, regular bit. In there. And then we have this conglomeration, which we go from 1/2 inch to 3/8 to an Allen to a Chapman. Let's see if we can get that guy to give it a hit and give it an influence to turn. Every union that you have in there, though, you lose energy across it. Kind of like trying to run an impact gun with like 3 extensions. Same idea. Just doesn't want to work. This is all we got. Did it turn? All right. So I'm hoping when we get that guy out of there, maybe this plate will lift off and there'll be a nut or something underneath it, is what I'm hoping for. It's got to come off somehow, right? And I'm hammering that in there just to make sure I want to make my best shot without stripping it out as I can. There it goes. Got that one too. Alright. I should probably get a little pick or something. There's a little notch. Let me get something to get in there. See if we can lift that plate up. Or we take a little screwdriver and we try tapping it. Let's see that moving. I'm going to try soaking it. I don't want to be applying heat to a bunch of stuff neither, because I just don't know what's behind it. I don't want to damage things. So more than likely, this is probably the clutch plate basket, the clutch assembly underneath here. And I would think, I just don't know what's inside there, whether it has a bunch of separate plates like a regular bike would have. I am just not familiar with these. This is the clutch lever right here. The cable would pull it, which would activate the clutch, whatever is on the inside pivoting. I don't know if you have to push maybe you have to push this down, or you have screws that you set down and it allows you to take this out. And I don't have any manuals or anything for this. I gave a quick look on the internet, but I didn't see much as far as this feels like it's part of that. Get my glasses on. I'm going to inspect that really close and see if if this is part of this or not. So that's just sitting on there. There's also a pin right in here. I wonder if this whole ring might turn. I got to take a closer look, see if I can see a separation. What is this part of this, or is this separate? Is that separate? I'm not sure. Possibly this is a ring that works off too. I just don't know. So the old saying, all else fails, get a bigger hammer, came to play, and I didn't want to do it, but I started whacking on the cam, and it came off. And there's a nut underneath. Go figure. So at least that gets us closer. Boy, this thing is crunchy, huh? You say money pit? Try shooting a little air in there. The air gun's here. Here it is. Let's blow some of that crap out of there. Hold your breath. Let's see about getting that nut off of there. This whole thing probably could have went to drop the whole thing in a jug of solution. You know, see, I don't know if that's going to be left hand thread or right hand. And then it has, problem is, again, I don't have any hardware that fits any of this stuff, so I'm stuck as far as even having screws to put in for pullers and all. Because I can see there and there it's set up for one. And I'm not going to be able to get underneath it once the, no, let's get that off first. What do you think the chances are? I think probably not very well. Let's I think this might be a good candidate for impact gun. That's what I think. How many rat-a-tat-tats do you think it's going to take? Good. Okay, it's sitting on a tapered shaft. I wonder if you should, again, there's 3 holes for a puller. You can push against the center of it. I'm not going to have anything to thread into there, and judging by those holes, they're going to need a tap run through them too. I think we're going to have to do the old pry underneath it and give it a whack in the center. I think that's probably going to be our best bet. What am I looking for? The socket. Where's the socket? There it is. Spin that in as far as we can. Give that a hit. Don't want to kill the threads. Alright, something like that. I want to get a piece of brass. I can't even get underneath it with anything. Yeah, there's nowhere around it where I can get to pry up on it. That sucks. Well, let's just try giving it a hit just for shits and giggles. Let's go with that way. You know I'm dreaming. Alright, I am going to look into seeing what I can do with these 3 holes to get a puller on it. I think that's going to be our only saving grace. I'm sure it's on a tapered shaft. So I may have to just tap these to some other hardware that I do have. Alright, so I didn't bother running a tap in there because, first of all, it's going to bottom out fairly quickly. I just have the next closest hardware and we're just gonna make it fit. Looks pretty low. You would think I'd be able to find 2 bolts the same size too. No. And we get this guy nice and greased up. We are going to need something to tighten that up with, aren't we? Alright, hopefully we can get that guy to pop for us. Get some tension on it. Now let's give her a hit. I don't think it's going to pull up slow. I think I think it's on a tapered shaft, I think. So I should just pop if it does go. I get it? Or did I rip out hardware? All of a sudden it got real loose. Weld the puller to it. Something's happening. Yeah, that worked well. All right, so I think I'm going to leave this alone for a little bit. I'm kind of thinking that this is going to be the dynamo, and you know, it works as the flywheel, works as the charging system, and I think the starter also. It's probably a bunch of windings on the inside of here. Again, just a guess, who knows. Clutch has got to be in this assembly somewhere too. I think what we can do is, it looks like this case right here is separate from that. So it looks like we should be able to open this up, and judging by the rust puking out of there, essentially, if I find something that is so far gone, we're going to go, you know, with a snowmobile engine with reverse and try to repower it of some sort. But I would like to try to get this back. So let's go into here, think about that, and see what's going on inside here, and if everything looks okay. Where I know there's rust in there, but if everything looks okay enough that we can clean that up and move forward, we'll continue on. If we take this apart and, you know, we just find that this thing is ridiculous and stuff is all just wasted, then we'll know to stop putting energy into that. I know it's a dirty, rusty motor when my camera's got rust on it. I want to take this gear off of here. Got a cotter key going through the center of it. We call them cotter keys here. Trust me. Alright, let's go. There's already a notch on there. I just want to continue the mark so that it's got a locating pin. I want to make sure that's in the right. Actually, it's keyed. It's not going to move. It's going to go back on one way. Straighten that guy out as best as possible, and grab it with the wire cutters from the other side. Choke up on it again. Uh-oh. Cut it in half. Half should come right out though. Those we have extra of. You think? How do you think that's on there? I just think gravity. It's just a selector switch, right? Let's... There we go. And that's out of the way. We got... I don't know if the clutch lever needs to come off. Let's take these guys off and we'll see if we get any movement with the case. I'd rather leave this together if I don't have to, because just because I don't know what's on the inside of it. Yeah. You agree? Someone's not. Alright, so two things could be holding it up. Again, the clutch lever and the shifter. It has a clip on the shaft, but I don't know if that's all going to come up with it. I would think so, judging by the size of what's here. Let's go see. Feels like it's holding up on this end. You know I want to do it so bad. Let's give it a little. Let's screw up the edges of the case, right? Yeah, I see we gotta take that guy off. Let's see if we can get that guy out of there. Let's get a pick under there. See ball bearings laying everywhere. Fell out of there. That's for that bearing right there. See if we can rescue all those guys. That's gonna be fun to put back together, huh? That's probably where a magnet be my best friend. One laying down there. See any more? Man, this thing's satin Crudville. Good thing for video. Remember how it all goes back together. I don't think that thing's going to shift anytime soon. There's a set of ratchets in there. I think it's a tad bit of rust inside a gearbox. Yeah, I'd say it's gonna be a close call. No. Let's rephrase that. I think it's gonna be a long shot. This guy's gonna go back together, but. I wonder if that all that stuff lifts right out of there. I see main bolts going this way, attaching this case to that side of the block. Would we be able to get that apart? Would we be able to get the transmission off of I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, that's what I see, like the transmission bolted to the engine. I would think you would have to get all that stuff off of it first. That lifts straight up and off of there. Again, I would think that case would come off, that case would come off, then this could pull straight away. I wouldn't think it would be able to. Might. And also, you don't see what ties the gear case to the crank, so that will lead me to believe could be going through where the sprocket is. It must be. So does the energy go through here, across in a gear, up through this shaft, and then power everything? And then back down through the center of it again? And that seems complicated if it is. Alright, well, I'm going to lean that on its side and blow all that crap out of there at least. And we're going to look into it a little bit more. Yeah, took the air gun, blew that out. I gotta tell you, it's not looking good. You figure all that rust is metal that has left something in there, and it's not from the case, you know. I have a feeling those gears are going to be kind of beat. So let's jump over. Just the air off. Back to this side, because I think that's what the issue is. I think it's going through the center of the sprocket. To in here. So we are back to this. We gotta get the fan off so we can get the housing off. And I don't know if we're gonna go with these guys or with those guys. Or both. Let's go find out. At least on this side, we can get a pry bar underneath it to put pressure on the back side. Actually, that guy's coming right up. Didn't even have to hit it with a hammer. Must be scaring it. And that must be like dampening material or something. It's like a Scotch-Brite glued to it. I think that big nut off, and you guys can see the big nut there. It's going to hold this whole case together. I don't know if these four have to come off. Let's see what I'm talking about. So we got that guy, these four. You would think something on this end would be holding it, right? Right there. Well, let's get rid of that guy and we'll give it a tap or two and then see if we have to come back to this. I would think it might be just holding the bearing. Tap. It's split in a different area. It's split further down. It's weird. That's not going to come out of there. We got to split this upper half off of there first. Something else is holding it somewhere. I'm going to say we go for those 4 screws. Let's go try getting those guys out of there. Let's see if that... came out. Still feels like it's one. You got something else holding it. Hold on. Let me straighten you out. There you go. Yeah, so we want to break it at this line. Could be just stuck together too, maybe. Maybe we'll put that guy back on and tap up on it. There's a chain in there. I think I may just go and wedge something in there, try tapping up on it. How about a putty knife? Like a nice rounded off one. Let's see if get that in there without doing too much damage. Yeah, the gasket just had glued. Yeah, it looks good. You tell where the water line was? You think that was underwater? Alright, so at least we know the clutch is on this side and not in that other basket. The chain is... I say we blow that out of there. We'll see if we can get the clutch assembly off of it. Can we get this guy off too? Be nice to have a set of bolts that actually fit in there, that we use them as a jack screws. I possibly may have stuff from it itself, right? I don't want to trash that stuff though. I don't know if we can use. It doesn't feel like it's the right size. It's not. Let's go with getting that guy off. Did nothing. That might be adjustment for the clutch, I think. So how would you get that sucker off of there? Sometimes there's like a retaining clip that goes around. I don't see that. I don't know, do you? Trying to turn it like it'll actually turn. Possibly this could be a nut. I wonder if you're supposed to. That's going to be, so to release the clutch, this would get pushed up, I would think, and make room between the plates from the lever from the other side. I really haven't gotten anywhere, but if you rock that play back and forth, if you guys can see on this side, the gear case, the whole gear case kind of moves together. That sprocket is floating. I'll tell you one thing though, it must be a pain in the ass. You need to change the front sprocket. It seems like you have to take a lot of crap off to do that. just a general maintenance kind of item. So one gear already fell off. That one right there. I wonder if these shafts are just so rusted up, like this gear should slide up, or this whole assembly should slide up. It's just bound. It's directly tied to it, you know, but I don't see what's attaching the two of them together. Down the center of that was the clutch rod. The clutch operates from this side and pushes a rod to the other end, expands and closes the plate. I don't see anything inside there, plus I wouldn't think there'd be anything inside there that would have to be left open. But I'm kind of thinking this rust right here. Ourselves a little picky. Yeah, maybe be able to get that guy off of there. Does it feel like? This assembly has to come out this way because there's no opening on the other side of the case holding it. The next thing I'm going to do is possibly try splitting the big bolts that we talked about earlier. I don't see that buying us anything though, because can this slide right off? Yeah. Still has the same issue. Again, I think we just keep taking apart what wants to come apart. Get that gear off of there. I think that gear's supposed to come off of there, but the land of rust is kind of holding everything in place. Let's that's got a check ball in here. Stuck. So I wonder if I get whatever I can get apart on this side, the rest of it may draw out the other side. Is that the same? No. That's the same. Nope. There is, might be this one. Let me go get some lube. All right, after looking at it, flipping it around, and kind of checking things out, I discovered a couple of things that, let me get comfortable here, a little disheartening. One is going to be that crack right there, and then I see another one right there. So I have a feeling the water that was in here froze and caused some cracks in the case, so it's not looking good for this guy. I think I'm to the point, and I don't give up easy. I must say, I think we're getting to the point where I might be chasing something that is going to be very hard to bring back. I think it's just going to need so many internal parts that it'll be cost prohibitive. I don't know how hard it would be to find another engine for this. That crack was where? Up here. Yeah, that would have been the bottom of that. I have a feeling that the dynamo is going to have a bunch of problems in it. You know, I'm sure it's got coils and stuff that are in behind here, and that was all underwater. I think that's all going to be corroded. So, good old power of the internet. We're going to go see if anybody makes a comment. You guys overseas probably be closer to finding something for this than it's going to be in good old US of A, but you never know. And then my initial thought when I first saw this thing is we could repower it with maybe a snowmobile engine that has reverse, electric start, reverse, all that same kind of package that this has. I think it's going to be a little larger. That's the thing, it's trying to make it so that we got a decent amount of area. We're going to want to sit. I got that thing all jammed in there trying to get to it. Sit on that cradle. Now you know why the last person gave up. Maybe the hard part's reverse. You know, you can put a regular motorcycle engine on it. Right? And we need a fan still too. We need some way for air to blow across the fins because it's not like it's open like a motorcycle. So that's what I thought good about a snowmobile. No, it might actually work too. Maybe like a scooter engine. They have the fans built in, a fairly small package, and they have shifting and clutch. They don't have maybe the modern ones have electric start. Maybe like a modern cheap scooter or something we can, I don't know. That's where I think I'm going to leave off though, guys. I think we're going to go and step back and think about it for a little bit and see what we can come up with, and see what you guys maybe come up with and go from there. Hey, if it was easy, it'd be fixed already, right? Now, with that, guys, I think I'm going to go shut her down, go clean up, and go have myself a nice big fat cheeseburger and a strawberry shake. Till then, I will see you guys in the next one. See ya. Yeah, we're not done yet. We had a little bit more to the end of this video. So it's the next day. I had time to think about it a little bit, and my thoughts were about replacing it with a different style of drivetrain that maybe be a little bit easier to service and a little cheaper. So kind of mulled around, talked to some people. Possibility of still finding a Villiers engine, but it's going to be from overseas, and more than likely it's probably going to be fairly expensive. But if that doesn't happen, I still want to kind of move forward with thought with what we're going to replace it with. And what I was looked into and talked with some other people was that you can get a the biggest part is essentially reverse and electric start. Those are the two items that need to be addressed on top of, you know, the power source. The original engine that was in there, that 9E, is probably about 9 or 10 horsepower, I think it comes up in it, and it's got a built-in 4-speed, and it has forward and reverse and electric start. This, so that we need that kind of those same parameters. And I'm gonna sneeze. All right, sneeze averted. Where were we? So we need to kind of reproduce that same stuff, and with that, I'm thinking 10 horsepower engine of some sort that's going to come in. I would think either a Honda or a Briggs, possibly some other ones too. But figure a Honda or a Briggs, and then you could add the like the Sachs clutch kit. There's a modern version of the CVT transmission that most go-karts and stuff run. And it's, you know, a little pulley and the big pulley, and when you spin it up, the little pulley squeezes the belt and changes the gear ratio. Well, that whole assembly is not bad. It's like $60 delivered. And then on the end of that, they make an attachment that is a gearbox. Normally that would have a sprocket going out to whatever you're going to go drive. But instead, you put a gearbox on the end of that, and that gearbox has a forward and reverse lever, and I think a neutral in the middle of it. So it gives you a transmission through the CVT, so you'll have full speeds forward as pretty much as you do backwards, which is kind of needed in this for when it's in the water, and the tires need to have some momentum going backwards to do anything. So that's what I'm thinking for the drivetrain. If I can find a Honda or Briggs motor around 10 horse, those assemblies are good to 11 horse, I think. So a good 10 horse. I'd like to find a Honda, and then we'll run cool air ducting. Unfortunately, we have to run cool air ducting up and around to the intake on this side of it. All the power comes off this. We can go back to the original jack shaft and hook all this up, because that's the brake. Here's the jack shaft. So we're gonna repower this way. So you can play with the end of this too to whatever the engine is for our sprocket size. But this can come off of that transmission, and we want to maintain this because this is the rear brakes anyway, and that just goes out to the live axle. So I wanted to see how heavy this original engine was and what that was going to... It's a boat, you're worried about how much weight is inside the thing. So I wanted to weigh this guy, and we're coming in at, I want to say, I will call it 90 pounds. It probably could be a little bit more too, because some of the stuff can come out of here. That box of controller can come out of there, and maybe the exhaust got shaped around a little bit differently. The 90 pounds is a fairly good amount of weight that we can replace it with. I want to say, I'm going to guess, how much does a 10 horse Honda weigh? I'm going to say 50 pounds. Don't need the gas tank. Gas tank can come off of it, and maybe some other things, but maybe a little more because it's got electric start. The electric starter is probably a good 8 pounds on it. And the new transmission setup I just talked about, the Comet, rather, not Sachs, Comet clutches. I want to say the clutch setup is in the belt and everything. That's probably 10 pounds, and I don't know what the transmission says weighs. The gearbox forward and reverse, I want to say that's another 10. So say 60, 80, 90. I think we're in the same ballpark as what is there. So because you don't want to get like a really heavy engine in this thing, and when it's in the water, it needs to you know, sit kind of proper and propel the tires. And the more weight that we add to that is the less weight it can carry inside. That's all. That's what my thoughts are right now. I haven't bought anything yet, but I'm thinking that's the path that we should kind of go if that goes belly up on us. All right, now I'm done. See ya.